All right, let's just jump right in with a wild idea. What if the very concept of the person listening to this right now, is actually built on a huge mistake? That's what we're going to dig into today. Just how fragile this whole idea of self really is.
I mean, just think about that for a second. It's kind of crazy, right? Before you had a name, before you had any memories, before the whole epic story of your life began, there was just this, a single cell. It's a starting point that feels completely alien, almost impossible to connect with the complex person you are right now.
I mean, the scale of that change is just staggering. You went from being basically a microscopic biological fact, a smooth gel-like droplet, to becoming what you are now, a symbolic self, a mind that can ponder the cosmos, fall in love, think about the very atoms that make you up. That journey, from cell to self, well, that's pretty much the whole story of being human.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter. In making that incredible leap, did we mess something up? Did we build this incredibly complex self on a foundation that's, well, a little shaky? Is it possible that we've all bought into an illusion, the idea that being you is some solid, permanent, clearly defined thing?
Okay, so let's start digging. Let's look at the first big crack in that foundation. It's all about that weird feeling we get when the self we've so carefully built up starts to feel like it's falling apart.
There's a name for this, actually. It's called abjection. And really, it's just that gut-wrenching, deeply unsettling feeling you get when the lines you draw between me and not me start to get really, really blurry. You see, we build our whole sense of who we are on the idea that there are clear borders. But reality? Yeah, reality has a funny way of reminding us just how fragile those borders can be.
And you know exactly what triggers it, right? The sight of your own blood, seeing a corpse, just thinking about the simple, unavoidable fact that things decay. These things freak us out because they're such a powerful, gut-punch reminder of our own biology. They scream at us that no matter how hard we try, we can't separate ourselves from the messy, physical world.
So what's our response to this terror? Well, mostly we try to paint over it. We distract ourselves, right? We build these complicated lives and identities, all in an effort to cover up the slightly horrifying truth that we, at the end of the day, are animals. We bleed, we breathe, and eventually, we decay.
And this is where we find the real paradox of being human. It's this idea that we are both an angel and a worm. On one hand, you've got this incredible mind, an angel that can soar to infinity and think about atoms. But on the other hand, you're a worm, a heart-pumping, breath-panting body that is, let's be honest, ultimately food for worms. We feel like we're above nature, but we are hopelessly, completely stuck in it.
All right, let's look at another piece of this puzzle. This next idea challenges the very notion that there's even a stable, fixed you in the first place.
You might have heard of this one. It's the old ship of Theseus paradox. And the question is simple. If you have a ship and over 100 years you replace every single plank of wood on it, is it still the same ship? It sounds easy, but there's no simple answer. It really makes you stop and ask, what is identity even made of? Is it the physical stuff or is it something else?
So why am I talking about old wooden ships? Because you are the ship. Think about it. Your cells are constantly being replaced. Your memories, which feel so real and permanent, are actually getting edited and changed all the time. The beliefs you'd swear by today, 10 years from now, you might have thrown them all overboard.
And here's the takeaway. We all love to believe in a true self, right? Some kind of essential core me that never changes. But when you really start looking for it, there's just no absolute anchor. You're not a thing. You're a process, a constantly shifting, evolving story.
Okay, so this is all starting to sound a little bleak, I know. If our foundations are flawed and our identity is a bit of an illusion, what are we supposed to do? Are we just lost? Well, not necessarily. There's actually a method for trying to find some solid ground in all this uncertainty.
And for that, we turn to the philosopher René Descartes. He had a pretty radical idea. He said, look, if you want to find out what's absolutely true, you have to start by demolishing everything. You have to be willing to doubt every single thing you think you know.
And he used this great little analogy to explain it, the apple basket. Imagine all of your beliefs are apples in a basket. You've got a suspicion that a few of them might be rotten. What do? Well, to be absolutely sure, you can't just pick out the bad ones. You have to dump the entire basket out on the floor. Then you pick up each apple, one by one, inspect it really carefully, and only put back the ones that you are absolutely 100% certain are perfect.
So what happens when we do that? When we empty out the basket and doubt everything? Our senses, our memories, even whether the world around us is real. After all that, is there a single solid apple left?
Well, after tearing everything down, Descartes was left with this: one solitary, absolute truth.
And the reason this is so incredibly powerful is, well, you can doubt everything else, right? But you can't doubt that you're doubting. The very act of thinking, even if that thought is, I don't exist, proves that there is a thinker having that thought. It is the one firm, immovable point in a total whirlpool of uncertainty. It's the bedrock.
Okay, so we found our one solid piece of ground. But that doesn't just magically solve the whole angel and worm paradox, does it? So the real question is, how do we live with this knowledge? And maybe the answer isn't to solve the paradox at all. Maybe the real solution is to change the goal entirely. Instead of desperately trying to escape the fact that we're both this thinking mind and this physical body, what if we just learn to embrace it, to live within the contradiction? You know, the funny thing is, the very self-awareness that causes all this anxiety, it's also our greatest superpower. It's our lifeline. It's the thing that allows us to actually strive for things for good reasons, to find the beauty in this totally absurd situation, and to find our own meaning in this tightrope walk of existence.
And that, to me, is an incredibly empowering thought. Yeah, okay, we have to acknowledge the cold, hard winter of our reality. We're temporary, we're fragile, but that doesn't have to be a depressing thing. Because inside of that winter, your conscious thinking self can be an invincible summer, a source of real warmth and strength.
So I'll leave you with this question. Knowing all this, knowing that you are this beautiful, temporary, walking paradox, a thinking animal on a tightrope, what are you going to do with that? How will you choose to live?